Hello everyone. I wanted to do a video on, I guess this is 2012, things that are going on and expectations and so forth, and my own personal experiences about the whole any number of myriad things going on. I mean, there's end of the world and end of calendars and whatnot, vibrational risings. And I just wanted to do my own video take on it. Now, I think this is a landmark year because there's a lot of activity going on around the planet with different individuals. Some of them, commercializing it. Some of it, going to the extremes of, who knows what kind of insanity is going on in their own heads. But I think there's some legitimate things that are going on. And I want to start by saying that I'm going to kind of refer to another YouTuber, Kelly in the Raw, did a video about the difference between believing and knowing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my take on the same thing. And just to talking about this, I mean, believing is something that you have faith in, where someone tells you a story or tells you an idea or whatever, and you believe because of their credibility or because of their experience or your experience with them, that they're legitimate. So you have faith in what they've told you, and I think that's the foundation of a lot of the things that are in the Bible and other religious texts, is that they completely depend on believing and people having faith in them. So believing is about not having first-hand knowledge yourself about a topic, but believing the credibility of the source of where it came from. And knowing is about personal experience with something that has happened to you or that you've gone through. And even though you can't explain or define what it is, you know because of your experience, because of your senses, your sight, your hearing, your touch and taste. Those senses have helped you to put all the pieces together, and based on your perception, that this particular event happened. And so even in our sixth sense, we have the ability to know that we've experienced something, even though we can't explain exactly what it is to others. So with that said, I believe that that's where I'm going to share my personal beliefs and my personal knowing of certain topics, and just hoping that you will like what I have to say about certain things. So anyway, 2012 is a year of raising our spiritual vibration. Now, in order to believe that there is a such thing as spirit and so forth, you have to have the vocabulary from whatever your religious text or faith is about that. For me, I don't believe in a spiritual soul or anything like that, because I know I have a spiritual soul or connection to a higher energy, a higher power, a God source. And I'm going to start by telling a story of when I was 8 years old, and I had an out-of-body experience. And when I was 8 years old, I was in the middle of the night, and I basically could not sleep because I had this absolutely excruciatingly painful headache. And I don't know where it came from or what the issue was around this headache, but it was so bad that I was laying in bed in the middle of the night. It had to be, I don't know what time it was. I didn't really had that much of a concept of time, but it was, my parents were sleeping and the house was quiet and it was pitch black outside, and there was no noise or anything going on. And when I woke up, I just had this incredible headache, and there were tears rolling down my cheeks and so forth while I was laying down, because it was just so painful when I came out of this, while I was experiencing this headache. So basically, I kind of said to myself in this moment of extreme pain, I don't want to be here. And it was really amazing because I literally sat up in bed, got out of bed, and I went, and there was a chair next to my bed, and I went and I sat in the chair. And when I sat down in the chair, and I turned around and sat down in the chair and looked back at the bed, my body was still in the bed, laying down. And I was sitting in the chair watching my body, and I saw the tears coming down the one side of my face, on my body. And I remember just, feeling sad for my body and being at complete peace and knowing that everything was going to be okay, and I didn't really have to worry about my body. It was just, something that was going through. I still had no explanation for what was going on with the pain, but I knew that I could be confident and not worry about it. So that was my very first conscious knowing experience with the concept of not necessarily being part of the body. And another important thing about that is that I had all of my thinking processes and my conscious ability to know who I was connected to the energy that got up and moved to the chair. So my body was still there, and my brain was still in my body, supposedly. And, I was laying there in the bed and so forth, but all my thinking was connected to the energy that had removed itself from my body. So I was conscious of me not being connected to that physical body. So that's how I know that we are not necessarily connected to our bodies long term. So this is just a short-term thing in the life, but our actual spiritual, our actual energy, is what I'm going to call it, consciousness, is, and our thinking and our ability to process thoughts and so forth, even though we have a brain and body, neurons and so forth that connect and communicate with each other and so forth, and that again is electrical. So, and that's energy, and so our body is just a mechanism by which those things work inside of our body, but our actual energy is conscious and works outside of the body. So that is my first connection with knowing thy spirit at 8 years old. So that's the first out-of-body, or my out-of-body experience there. So, and I know that this is true because I experienced it. So if you believe what I've said, that's based on whether or not you feel that I'm a credible source, and or someone that you deem to be credible, and that is a leap of faith that you yourself will have to take or embrace. stories. So I will go on and talk on the next topic.